So, welcome everyone. So excited to have you. Like I was saying before we jump into the panel, I want to talk a little bit about PRSSA, what it offers, the amazing things that it brings. And so first, I want to answer the question that a lot of you are probably thinking, is what is PRSSA? And PRSSA, as you can see here, is a professional organization that strives to help you become the best professionals you can be. So our goal, we're striving to help you guys be prepared to enter the workforce one day, get that job that you really want, and give you as much experience as possible. And we're here to help you. We're here to be your resources. We're here to give you guys all the tips and skills that we can possibly give you. Most of us, if not all of us, have done internships and jobs before and have a ton of experience. So we're here to help. We're here to give you all the skills that you need. We also have our amazing district ambassador in this call with us, Tiffany. She's a great resource for you guys as well too. She's amazing, and yeah, so we're here to help you guys. So next question, what do we do? How can we help you guys? The first point is professional development. So we're going to help you guys with things like resume building. We're going to give you guys panels where we talk about things like how to succeed in an internship and how to impress in an interview and different skills like that. We're going to do resume building workshops. In a lot of our events, we also do $5 headshots, which is really cool, where we'll get a photographer to come in and take your headshots, which is amazing. Everyone needs a good headshot. The next point here, scholarship opportunities. So this is something that not a lot of people know about or utilize, but is actually a really, really good tool. PRSSA offers scholarships all the time, and a lot of them people don't apply for, and they go ungiven. And who doesn't love free money? So it's a great way to get some extra scholarships and get that extra help as well. The next point, travel experiences. So every year, PRSSA holds a national conference, which is amazing, and they're usually kind of all around the country. So we've gone to Boston before. The leadership rally is in Arizona every year. This year we were actually going to go to Nashville for conference. Last year conference was actually here in California and San Diego. So you get to see a lot of really, really cool places and travel too, which is amazing. And we always have a group of us that go to conferences, and it's a great time. So this next point here, partner with PRSSA for some events. So PRSA is the Public Relations Society of America, and we're part of OCPRSA. So OCPRSA helps us along. They're a great resource for us to get skills and everything from as well. And we have the amazing opportunity to go to a lot of PRSA events and do a lot with them. And they really help us along and are a great tool for you to use too. And they're professionals in the industry who are currently working, and they're great. So you get to do a lot of experience with them too. And networking with industry professionals. This is a really, really big one. That's super cool. That's a great opportunity that we offer. We do networking events all the time. And even if it's not a networking event, we always give you guys opportunity and time to network with the different professionals we bring in. So one event that we do every year is our business card type of event where we'll bring a bunch of professionals from industries in, and they'll have the opportunity to talk to you and give you advice and network with you, and you'll be able to make connections. And even if it's not that pure of a networking event, we always have like Q&A time and time before and after events where you can ask our speakers questions and things like that. So like I mentioned, you'll have access to scholarships and also an internship database, which is really, really cool. So PRSSA has an internship database where a lot of different professionals will post internship postings and job postings. And that's a really, really great tool for you to see what's out there and have another way to find your internships and jobs if you are looking for one. We also do really, really fun things. We do holiday parties that are really fun. We do TV tapings where we'll actually have the opportunity to go see a TV show filmed. We'll do career tours and just fun events like that where we try to bring everyone together and be in community with each other. So this year, what's really, really cool is we're bringing in the SoCal Coalition. So Biola PRSSA is teaming up with a couple other chapters from around the area, and we're going to be bringing you 4 panel events as well as a conference that all of our members will be invited to. This, I want to say, is not in place of any of our events, so we will still be having like our normal events in addition. This is just an extra kind of group of events that you will have the opportunity to go to, and each chapter will kind of be running one of the panel events. So even if it's like Cal State Fullerton's panel, you will still be more than welcome and allowed to join those. And we're also going to be doing a day conference that's really, really exciting, where we'll be talking about current trends in PR. So crisis PR, and our chapter will be talking about social media during like kind of a global crisis, where we'll discuss like, how do you know what to post, and how do you know what stance to take on certain topics as a company, and you know, as a firm, what do you tell your clients to post, or whatever the case may be. So we're going to be talking about that and how to navigate that, which is going to be fantastic. We encourage all of you to join the Coalition Facebook group, and there we'll be posting updates on our events. You'll have the opportunity to get to network with other members from other chapters, which is going to be really great, and get to see the amazing work that they're doing. And it'll be a really cool opportunity just to be in community with each other, get to learn from each other, and it'll be a really cool thing. So if you want more information on that, or if you want the link to join the Facebook group, you can email us at prssa.club@biola.edu. And next up, dues. So what's really cool about this year is we are not doing chapter dues on top of the national dues. So nationals requires us to charge $55, and normally we put another 15 or 20 on top of that, so we can pay for food and decorations and things like that to make our events great. This year we will not be doing that, so it's just that national fee. And not only that, if you sign up to be a member by October 15th, you can get a 25% discount, so dues will become $41, which is a great deal. If there's any time to become a member, it's now, you guys. It's going to be great. And you can sign up to be a member by going to PRSSA's website. There's a big red button on the homepage that says join. You can just hit that and follow all the steps from there. It's super easy and super simple. And if you are a current member, make sure to renew your dues. And you can, same thing applies. If you do that by October 15th, you'll get that discount. Super easy. And you can renew them by just logging into your My PRSA account. All right, some other things, make sure you're following us on social media. We're at Biola PRSSA on all platforms. And then make sure too that you're joining our page on the Biola app. We have the clubs page on the Biola app where we're super active. We post about all of our events and everything. Yeah, also, if anyone wants to inquire, going back to scholarships and membership really quick, if you guys need any help with that, if it's a needs-based scholarship or anything like that, you can contact me and we'll be more than happy to figure that out. And yes, to answer your question, it is a yearly fee. So this is the perfect year to join and see how you feel, because it will be cheaper than it normally is. So yes. And then yes, make sure you pay your dues. September 23rd is our first coalition panel. What's cool about that, Cal State Long Beach is going to be sharing, and it's going to be really cool. They have some really cool stuff lined up. So make sure you're staying tuned on our socials and everything for more information on that. And once again, I just want to stress, we're here for you. Email us at any time if you need absolutely anything at all. We're here to help you. We're here to give you tools. We're here to do everything we can and serve you. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to email me or email our PRSSA account. I'll drop my email in the chat right now, so you guys have that. I'm more than happy if you guys want more information or anything, happy to jump on a Zoom call, happy to do any of that. And yeah, so next up, we are going to meet our e-board. So my name is Amanda Papalardo, and I am your PRSSA president. Michael McKay is our amazing vice president, who's been putting all of these multimedia amazing videos and things together. Marta Dropping is returning as our social media chair this year. Esther Cash is our membership and fundraising chair. Christy McCrease, who unfortunately cannot be here with us tonight, she is our events chair. And we have the amazing Dr. Kim, who will be our chapter advisor. Dr. Kim, now if you want to like just chime in and say anything, yeah, I'll give the floor to you.
Yeah, I'm excited to see you guys all here. I see a lot of our new students on, and that's very exciting because if there's one thing that's like the secret sauce for your experience in the PR program, it's PRSSA. This is the group, this is the people to be part of. And I think it can be intimidating in the first meeting when you come in and you realize what a big society it is. But I hope you're hearing and picking up from what Amanda shared, that because it's a big society, you actually have a huge place and amount of resources in there. There's over $30,000 actually annually that PRSSA is giving away in scholarships. So it's huge. When students ask me where to go, I'm like, join PRSSA. Where else would you go? Also, this is not something that's just going to influence your time as a student. This gets to be part of your entire professional journey because you would transition into PRSA, which has been the most transformative experience of my professional career. That is where my PR network is. Those are my people that I call when I need help. And that's where a lot of industry people go to switch jobs. So in the first few years when you're looking for that perfect fit, you will likely find people who help you make your career jumps within PRSA. So being here tonight at PRSSA as a new PR student is fantastic. And for those of you who are seniors and juniors who are returning and have been part of PRSSA, you know the value. We're really excited this year because it's going to be unlike anything you've seen before. And you've heard me say it before, secret sauce only works if you put it on the hamburger. So you need to leverage PRSSA. You need to be involved. Come to the meetings, participate, because you'll get so much out of it. With that, I just have to say I love this year's eBoard. You guys are killing it. This is amazing, and I'm excited to see what you have in store.
Thank you so much. I know we're so excited to have you back as our advisor again. You're fantastic, and we all love you. So yeah, now we have another quick little video introducing your eBoard, who is also going to be your panel for tonight's panel event. I mean, come on, you guys. How cool is that? Like, amazing, right? So now we're going to transition into our panel portion of the night. So we're going to start off with another video. So basically how it's going to work is we're going to play you a video of all of us eBoard members just kind of talking about a general overview of what PR looks like in each of our areas. And while that video is playing, we're going to ask you guys to submit any questions that you may have right away. You can just send those to me in the chat, and then we'll answer those. And yeah, so we're going to kind of take it away with this first video, and then we'll get started with the panel.
My name is Marta Dropping in Seattle. I'm Michael McKay in Western Montana.
My name is Esther Cash. I live in the beautiful city of Los Angeles.
And today I'm going to be talking a little bit about PR in Greece, where I'm from.
Hey guys, it's Amanda Papalardo here in San Juan Capistrano, California.
Hi, my name is Christy McCrease. I'm a sophomore at Biola University, and today I'm going to be talking a little bit about PR in Greece, where I'm from. So maybe you've heard about Greece because you've seen an exotic Instagram post of the islands, or maybe you took a history class where you learned about the Greek gods and the ancient Greek philosophers. But actually PR has been very much so integrated in Greece's history and exists still there today. In PR, we've learned that it's all about connecting an organization to its public. In Greece, with its democracy, was one of the first government systems that really allowed the people to connect with the government, which at the time was a very, very big organization, and it allowed for this communication and relationship between the civilians and the governors. That's just one of the many examples of PR in Greece that existed then and still exists today.
My name is Esther Cash, and I am your membership and fundraising chair for this year. I live in the beautiful city of Los Angeles, which is actually a hotspot for public relations. We've got major sports teams like the Dodgers who use their celebrity status and dedicated fan base to not only sell tickets, but bring attention to charities and causes that the team members care about. We're also a huge spot for the arts industry. So you've got tons of PR agencies with professionals dedicated to helping models and actors and musicians either jumpstart their careers or promote movies and albums. Public relations is a major contributor to the international reputation that Los Angeles has.
Hey everyone, I'm Michael McKay, Vice President of Biola PRSSA. And behind me are the Bitterroot Mountains in western Montana. These mountains define so much of what PR is in western Montana. Every summer, thousands of people from all across the country come here to recreate in these mountains. Horseback riding, fishing, boating, and more. You'll notice today the mountains are a little hazy. And that actually has an important reason in PR too. Every summer we deal with wildfires here, and that forms an integral part of our PR industry as well. So what is PR in Montana? It has a lot to do with these mountains, and more broadly, our natural resources as a whole.
It's Amanda Papalardo, your president for the 2020-2021 school year. Right now, I'm in front of the San Juan Capistrano mission here in San Juan Capistrano, California, and I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about what PR looks like here. So the cool thing about San Juan Capistrano is that the PR here is so diverse because we have so many different things. We have so many landmarks like the mission and like the trading post, which is right in front of me. We have a bunch of inns and hotels because San Juan Capistrano is such a tourist destination. A lot of people who don't live in California or people who might live in Northern California often come here for vacations and things like that because it's close to the beach and all those kinds of things. So we have corporate PR here because we have a lot of chains. We have local PR and a bunch of different businesses that go through like third-party firms and things like that. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that little glimpse into what PR looks like in San Juan Capistrano.
My name is Marta Dropping, and I am your social media chair. I'm from Seattle, Washington, a city devoted to coffee, art, tech, and individuality. Public relations here is often cutting edge and technology focused. With Microsoft, Google, Facebook, Twitter, Adobe, Nintendo, and Amazon all calling Seattle home, there is a huge market for tech communication. We're also proud to host a big art and music scene that defines the casual, creative workspaces that dominate our field. Spaces like the Museum of Pop Culture or the Seattle Art Museum pay tribute to the great artists who hailed from here before. The streets are lined with murals and art installations, and our public relations scene values forward-thinking and imaginative communication. In Seattle, creativity is king.
All right, you guys. Well, hopefully that gave you a little bit of a brief overview and some insight into what PR looks like where each of us live. It's been really cool to plan for this event because it's been so cool for us to learn about what PR looks like where each of us live too. So now feel free to submit any questions that you have based on that about what PR looks like where we each live. And while you guys are doing that, I'm going to ask a few questions of our e-board as well. So I'm going to kind of be like moderating and also answering. So bear with me as I navigate that. But the first question that I want to ask all of you guys is, what advantages and disadvantages has living in your location given you in PR? And anyone can feel free to chime in at any time.
I can jump in first and answer.
Fabulous.
One of the biggest disadvantages of PR in Seattle would have to be a really oversaturated market. So we have a lot of large hitters in Seattle. Like I was saying in my video, we have a lot of tech companies, a lot of museums, a lot of just larger companies in general, like Boeing and stuff like that, and not as many lower level, smaller internships that you can get. So there's a lot of people vying for these bigger positions, which means that they're harder to get. And if you don't have the experience, then you can't get them. But I think one of the biggest advantages of working in Seattle would be those large companies themselves, because they give you so much experience, and they're really great resume builders as well if you can get them. And one of my favorite things about working here is the creative workspaces that they build, like the Amazon Spheres, which is a mini rainforest that they built in downtown Seattle, and like these giant globes for people to work at. Or the Twitter headquarters, I had a few friends intern there, and they kept fridges and different things fully stocked of different foods and stuff, and had slides inside of their buildings, because Seattle's just like a fun and funky place to work. And that's one of my favorite advantages of being here.
That's awesome. For me, I think one advantage of doing PR in San Juan is, like I mentioned, it's so diverse here. There's so many different kinds of things that you can do and different avenues of PR that you can go into. A disadvantage for me personally is my goal is to do PR for music. So doing PR for a record label or doing it for individual bands and artists, or whatever that looks like. And for me personally, there's not much of that in San Juan Capistrano, which has been interesting to navigate. But yeah, it's super cool here because there's so much stuff, because it is so much of a tourist destination and so much of a landmark in California. There's a lot of PR that happens like within the landmarks, specifically in the Mission and everything, but there's also so much corporate stuff and chain restaurants and chain stores and things like that that are more corporate PR, or maybe they go through like a third party agency or firm. So yeah, I think that those are my advantages and disadvantages of my area.
I think for me in Los Angeles, like I mentioned in the video, PR is so big in Los Angeles, especially because of our standing in the arts industry. I think that's a huge advantage of living in Los Angeles, is there are so many opportunities to be involved in PR, because
Los Angeles is a music hotspot. It's a movie hotspot. And again, with like the Dodgers as well, it's a huge sports hotspot as well. And so you have all of these big opportunities. But I also do think that it plays as a bit of a disadvantage as well, just in the sense that as someone who might be a little bit more interested in something like political public relations, there aren't as many opportunities because the arts industry dominates the public relations scene in Los Angeles. And so it has its advantages and disadvantages.
Well, thank you so much for that, Esther. I actually would advise, if you want to go into political public relations, go to DC. I just got done working with a company, with a nonprofit in DC for graphic design, and oh my goodness, everything that they sent me was political. So if you want politics, go to DC. That's the place to be. I would say the hardest part about living in Corvallis, Montana is it is not the place to be. It doesn't have political PR, it doesn't have arts PR. We live in the middle of nowhere. I don't know if you noticed in the satellite image, but my goodness, there's like, 15 buildings in the whole town, and none of them need PR. So it's difficult. The one advantage that I would say is that we have major natural beauty. And so we have mountains here that just facilitate public relations because we do have the Forest Service. Somebody needs to take care of 3 million acres of wilderness here. And so that is one big thing that we have here that a lot of other places don't, is that natural resource component. Glacier National Park is 3 hours north. So we live kind of in a state that natural resources are a big deal. And so PR helps safeguard those and inform the public about them. The other thing also that is unique about my community specifically that I didn't get to mention in the video is we actually have a level 4 biochemical lab here. So basically, it's an NIH level 4 like viral research lab. And so we're studying COVID-19 right now in my community. We are studying Zika in my community. We're studying malaria in my community. Why'd they put it here? Probably because we have no people. So if any of this gets out, it's no big deal. But at the same time, they have a public relations person at their office. And then we also have a public relations practitioner at a local hospital. So those are the 3 public relations positions in my entire community. It's a fantastic job market for a young professional. But I would say best work-life environment ever. I mean, you can recreate, you have clean air, awesome mountains. So it is fun if you manage to score one of the 3 public relations jobs in my town.
So one of my favorite things about PR climate in my area is definitely the definition that Greeks give PR, because when you think PR, you think professional organization, PR firm, PR consulting, something like that. But in Greece, each individual actually does so much PR on their own. Greece is just really known for culturally being very hospitable, and they're very talkative and social people. And so there's so many connections being constantly built and so much network being done, just from a regular small cafe owner to a large PR corporation that can manage tons of beach bars or clubs across Greece. So I just love that there's so much PR on so many different degrees and levels, I would say. That's one of my favorite things.
I love that. Thanks for sharing, you guys. My next question for all of us is, what struggles have you had with PR in your area? So that could be like for you personally, or just in general, what struggles does PR face in your area?
I think for me in Los Angeles, a big issue is truth telling and just ethical public relations. I think especially in, like drama media that takes place revolving around actors and musicians and things like that. A lot of the public relations that happens is not truthful, but is rather a manipulation of people's personal lives and scandals and things like that. And so for me, it's difficult to fully appreciate the public relations that goes on around me, because I always have to kind of be questioning the integrity of it, just because I know that mainstream media and things like that utilize a lot of public relations strategies can sometimes not be the most ethical when it comes to the arts industry.
That was a really good point, Esther. I find that in Seattle, one of the biggest struggles is what I said a little bit earlier with the disadvantages was We just have a lot of larger companies that want a lot of experience that don't have a huge amount of positions for us to actually be able to get. But another big struggle that we have is Seattle's a very activist like city. We have a lot of protests happening all the time for a lot of different reasons. So with PR, it's hard to keep up with that because a lot of companies are finding themselves, how do we balance this form of activism that a lot of citizens in Seattle are taking with what our company believes, or how do we actually get a hold of that and create a stance on it, which a lot of people call for in our city. That's one of the biggest struggles.
Yeah, I would say for me, one of the biggest struggles is that San Juan and just like the area around it is actually a lot more suburby than you would think it to be. So it's not a very big city. It's pretty quiet. Like, even though it's very touristy, there's not that much that happens, which makes PR and things like that, which can be so fast paced and everything, kind of difficult because there's not that much of an opportunity for it. While the area is so diverse and there's so many things, it can be challenging because it is so suburby and quiet and a pretty small area. And for me, personally, like I was mentioning earlier, because my goal is to do music, there's not that here. So that's just kind of like a personal struggle. But like on the positive of that though, is it gives you such an opportunity to figure it out for yourself and kind of make your own way and your own path. Like for me personally, I started freelancing, and so like a bunch of my friends who are musical artists or whatever, I've been doing PR for them, which has been really, really cool, and kind of doing some freelance stuff. So the positive of it, and the reason I'm saying this is just as a tip for any of you who are facing maybe some of the same issues, or maybe you're in an area where PR isn't very prominent. Like, do your own thing, make your own way. Like, if there's not a place for you, make your own place. You know what I mean? So that would be kind of my advice, and just some of the struggles about PR in my area.
Yeah, Amanda, I think you touched on so many good things. And I would also add on to kind of your last point about don't be afraid to be unconventional, because that has been my motto throughout my journey in public relations. Because ultimately in this town, like I discussed in the last question, there are only 3 public relations jobs in the whole town, and most of them are held down by industry executives who have had a lot of experience. So how do you get around that? As a 20-something young professional, what you actually do is you go outside of the normal realm of public relations and provide a more generalized communication service and less of a overtly public relations service. So like, for example, what I've done in the past 3 or 4 years has been providing a lot of stuff like tonight, doing videos, doing graphic design, getting outside of necessarily that normal scope of public relations, but still maintaining the core functionality of what public relations does, and that's connecting publics and those stakeholders. So as long as we're doing that, I think that almost any industry can be public relations that connects consumers and companies.
One of the ways that Greece's PR industry has suffered in recent times is the influence that COVID-19 has had on it. So Greece's huge way of building its network is tourism, and instead of having thousands upon thousands of tourists pouring into the country, there is much less due to the travel bans and travel restrictions. So that's really, really, really put a damper on Greece catering to its PR public, since it's to some degree absent.
Yeah, I think that's so true. And I think that's an issue that a lot of us face too, just in general, all across the country, is how do we navigate the field when there's nothing to navigate. So this next question is just kind of a fun question. What are some of your favorite PRSSA events that you've attended? My favorite one personally was not last year, but the year before. We did an entertainment and events panel where we had a bunch of professionals from different types of entertainment come in and talk about how to do PR and entertainment, and ethically what that looks like, as Christians, what that looks like. And it was a very informative and very fun panel. Does anyone else have one? Next question. Cool. Okay. Next question. Where in the world would you most like to do PR and why?
Ooh, this is a good question. I do like that one. Personally, I have a really big travel bug, so if I can do PR anywhere, I would. And just as a side note, from what you guys were talking about earlier, I was thinking about how, although everything that has happened with this whole pandemic situation and with coronavirus, I think that it's opened a new road for people to try out PR in so many different parts of the world because of remote positions nowadays. So I think that there's a lot more options to see what types of PR are in different places while not necessarily moving there immediately. But for me, a place that I'd really like to go to learn more about PR would probably have to be somewhere in Europe, maybe London, mainly just because I speak the language. But also, I just think it's really interesting to see different cultures and how they work. So probably London or Spain would be another country for me.
So I would say, honestly, if I had to pick anywhere in the country to practice public relations, I think I would probably end up near MARTA in the Pacific Northwest, whether it be Seattle or Portland. And the reason is that you can do LA-style public relations with an agency, with a corporation, and yet 30 minutes away, you have natural landscapes, you have mountains, you have hiking trails, you have pine trees, which is fantastic. And also, well, until this summer, I was going to say, and you don't have wildfires. But that's a whole different story for another day. But yes, I mean, the Pacific Northwest is absolutely gorgeous. And I think that's where I would probably end up if I could pick anywhere in the world to practice public relations. It would probably be in either Portland or Seattle.
Well, Michael, I think you almost answered the question for me a little bit earlier when we were talking about political public relations and how DC is probably the best spot to be for that. Over quarantine, my dad recommended the show West Wing to me. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of it before. It's on Netflix. It's like a really old, thank you, Cara, for the thumbs up. It's you know, from the 2000s, like show about the White House and the presidency and stuff. And it's like, in the show we watched CJ Craig, who's the press secretary, and just watching not only her do it, but also just the role that public relations plays in politics and in the White House was so like captivating. And I've been in love with politics since high school, but I think realizing the connection that public relations can have to politics has been really exciting for me to discover. And so for that reason, I definitely think Washington, D.C., just because I would get to combine public relations with politics and political science, which is my minor, in a really cool way. So definitely DC.
I think for me, it would definitely be any of the three music hotspots. So either LA, Nashville, or New York. Fun fact, I grew up in Philadelphia, and so New York is like a super close to home place for me. So I would love to like be able to go back there someday. But I also love LA. I'm a California girl at heart, and love LA. So yeah, I think for me, one of the three music hotspots would be ideal. Did everyone go? Oh, I was not even paying attention. Okay, next question. How do you think you can serve community through PR? How do you think you can serve your community through PR?
Well, I think a large part of serving your community through PR can be working with maybe your local church and working on what their PR is so that you can get more people into the church. Or something that I did over the summer was I worked a little bit with actually a company called Little Bit, which is a therapeutic writing center for children with disabilities. And I just volunteered there and helped work on their PR stuff. And so I think that a large part of PR is helping people. And that's what I love about it, is that a lot of it helps you to empower people who may not have a voice. And so a big part of that is just donating your time to places that need help, but may not necessarily have the resources to do this whole giant PR campaign.
I definitely feel the same way, Marta. I have been a dance teacher since high school, and some of the kids that I teach are down in inner city Los Angeles. And so the kids, the program started out really small, and the kids were just looking for something to do after school, kind of a way to keep them off the streets. And it's been really cool to see how I was using PR almost without even knowing it, through like so many social media campaigns and like small events that we would host on the weekends to get people to not only come see the program, but come support the kids at shows and things like that. Now going through PR classes and looking back at things that the company and I did to try and grow this program for the students, I can see all of the little ways that PR really helped grow the program to what it is today. And so I think it's really cool to see how public relations can be used for, like Marta was saying, kind of being a voice for more marginalized groups.
I love what you guys have said, and more importantly, my goodness, we have just a stupendous e-board. I am just so impressed with you guys. I mean, giving voice to the voiceless, helping marginalized communities. This is what we are all about as public relations practitioners, and also what we're about at Biola PRSSA. So join us and be a part of all the cool stuff that we're doing. But the one thing I would say about voiceless communities, rural America is often forgotten. We have slower internet, we have fewer people. Our needs are not necessarily the needs of the majority of the country, but they are still very important. And a lot of times small communities like mine don't even have any public relations practitioners in the entire town. The fact that I live in a town of 900 with 3 full-time PR jobs is incredible. That's not most towns of 900. Most towns of 900 don't even have barely a gas station. So, I mean, it is amazing and such a gift that we have those people, but also being a public relations practitioner in an incredibly small town is actually way more than just being a public relations practitioner. You are probably the only dedicated professional communicator in that entire community. And so now those people are being heard for the first time potentially ever in their lives. And it goes so beyond our industry, guys. That is just, I mean, empowering people, empowering communities to be heard for potentially the first time. I mean, man, that's so exciting. I love this industry.
Yeah, I love what you guys have all said. And I think that's such an important part of public relations, right? Like public relations is so people-based, obviously, and it's all about community and bringing people together. And I think that's so special that we can each do that and give voices to people who might not have voices and bring people together. I think that's fantastic. And in San Juan, it's interesting because we're in Orange County, so we don't face a lot of the same issues that I think some other people do in terms of money and resources and things like that. But what's so amazing is that people from all over the world and all over the country come to San Juan Capistrano because it's right next to the beach and it's such a landmark, and it's such an amazing, cool place. There's nowhere else in California that's like San Juan Capistrano. And it's amazing to get to see so many people from all different walks of life come together and experience that and experience how cool it is and how great of an area it is, and to see places like the Mission do so many initiatives for like kids and everything experiencing San Juan in California for the first time, even people from Northern California who've never been to Southern California. It's just so cool to see that, and it's so cool to watch people, walking out of the Mission like change and feeling like they learned something. And it's so cool that PR is able to bring those people in and just have people experience that, and have the people who live here experience that as well. And it's a great reminder for people of how just amazing it is. And as a PR student and everything, for me, it's amazing to watch these people from out of state, out of town, come to this area and just be amazed. And I know that's a PR that does that, that's PR that has that reach and that is bringing people in and changing these people. And it's amazing to see. So yeah, thank you guys for those amazing answers. Let's see. Okay, so this one is a little more philosophical. We talk about the 4 models of PR: press, agentry, public info, two-way asymmetrical, and two-way symmetrical. What would you think the 5th model of PR would be / look like? Anyone want to take a stab first?
Girl, you're really out here with these tough questions. I mean, thinking about the way that it has progressed, I almost think that right now how there's a mutual kind of information flow of information is it's what the companies want the audiences to hear and what the audience want the companies to say, and that two-way street. I think as time goes on, especially with a lot of the political issues that have been going on recently about COVID-19, about racial injustice in America, things like that, we're seeing that a lot of companies are changing their core values to please the public. And so I think as time goes on, we might see more of the public almost informing the beliefs of companies in order for companies to appeal to them. So I think instead of this equal flow of communication that we've been attempting to facilitate during this 4th chapter of public relations, we might see a bit more of a lack of balance between what the public is feeding to companies and how the companies respond to that. Instead of shooting messages both ways, one message is coming from the public and all the companies will be doing is responding to it.
I think if Edward Bernays, Arthur Page, any of those people saw the modern essence of public relations, that they would be absolutely, I don't know if horrified would be the word or just shocked, especially Bernays. Bernays looked at public relations as a way to sell people things, as a very one-sided way of companies to communicate with people. It was very manipulative. It was very one-sided. And now with social media, we almost have the opposite. We almost have people talking to companies and then companies talking back. And so I think what we're seeing right now is companies actually pivoting their marketing to appeal to the tastes of consumers. And I think that to Bernays and other forebearers of public relations would just be shocking. Like, why are companies adjusting to consumers? No, we need to manipulate the consumer into believing what we believe. But that's not the case anymore. So I think we are in the 5th sector of public relations, if we weren't already the 5th type of public relations. And I think with social media, that change is only going to continue to be made over the next maybe 10 years. And I think we may have a new definition in the textbooks in maybe the next 10 years because of how fundamental this change has been.
I totally agree with all of that. And I think what's interesting for me, just like a real world example in my life of where I've kind of seen that is I interned at NBC Universal last fall and / Universal Television. And it was crazy to see how much they rely on what their audience says. Like, for example, there was a show that just came on. That was one of my shows that I was kind of like working on and doing all the PR for. And audiences hated it. They did not like it. It premiered. The premiere did not go well, a whole bunch of stuff. And so they took the show down and just put it on NBCUniversal.com. And it was crazy to see that just change of oh my gosh, the people don't like it. So now we have to shift, and we have to shift gears and shift what PR is and shift our messaging and everything. And that was really, I think, the moment for me where I was like, yeah, we're going into a much different time of, okay, let's listen to what people have to say and then we'll work off that, if that makes sense. So yeah, I agree with what you guys are saying, and that was just kind of just a random example that I wanted to throw in there of actually seeing it play out in real life.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with all of that. I mean, you guys pretty much stole all the words from my mouth, so I have nothing much to add on to that. But Yeah, I think that PR has really become a lot more reactionary than it is, I guess, kind of deciding what the public believes. It's more about what the public decides for them, what they believe.
Yes, amazing. I just saw Dr. Kim had to leave. So sad. Okay, one last little rapid fire question because it is 8 o'clock, so we are out of time. Just rapid fire, dream employer, go for it.
Ooh, this is a hard one. I'd probably say something either in the beauty industry, like a larger company like Sephora, or something in government relations, which are like the exact opposite, but they're both fields that I really want to go into.
I love
I'm
that.
gonna have to go with the White House.
For me, it would for sure be Rhino Records. Love that label, love their artists, all of it.
And I had to jump up and grab this. This is the Alaska Airlines client portfolio from PO 230, and they are my dream company. In Seattle, airplanes. I've been an airplane fan since I've been like 30 years old. So yes, that would be the dream company. And their favorite color is blue, just like mine. So dang, it's a match made in color heaven.
I love it. Well, that wraps it up. Thank you guys so much for coming. I had a great time. I don't know about the rest of you. But yeah, if you guys, I hope you had fun. If you guys have any more questions, want any more information about PRSSA, about what we talked about tonight, feel free to email us. I put my email in the chat a long time ago, so I'll put it in again. Feel free auto@biola.edu. I cannot talk and type at the same time. Hold on, let me just send that really quick. Okay, that's my email. Feel free to email me. Would love to jump on a Zoom call with any of you, send you some stuff to give you more information. You can also email us at prssa.club@biola.edu. And we'll be happy to answer your questions and give you more information there as well. Again, thank you guys so much for coming tonight. And yeah, I hope you had an amazing night. Bye, you guys.